while my husband was away. The first night without him was always the hardest. The house felt too big, the bed too cold, and the silence too heavy. My husband had left for yet another business trip, and though I had grown used to his absence, a part of me always longed for warmth, for company, for the comfort of being seen. It was on one of those lonely evenings that I noticed Alex, our new neighbor. He was younger than my husband, charming in a quiet, confident way, with ease that lingered a moment too long whenever we crossed paths. At first, I dismissed it, the stolen glances, the polite smiles. But loneliness is a dangerous companion, and soon I found myself waiting for those fleeting moments of connection. That night, as I sat by the window with a glass of wine, I saw him outside, leaning casually against his porch railing. His gaze met mine, and instead of looking away, I held it. Something unspoken passed between us, a silent invitation neither of us dared to voice. Moments later, a soft knock echoed through my door. My heart pounded as I opened it, finding Alex standing there, his smile both hesitant and daring. "I saw your light," he said quietly. "I thought maybe you didn't want to be alone tonight." His words sank into me like forbidden music, awakening something I had tried to bury. Without answering, I stepped aside and let him in. The air between us grew charged, every movement slow, deliberate. His fingers brushed against mine when I offered him a drink, and the heat that sparked at that touch was undeniable. It wasn't long before we were standing too close, or breaths mingling, or hearts racing. His lips found mine, soft at first, then urgent, as though he had been waiting for this moment as much as I had. The rest of the night unfolded in whispers and gasps, in the heat of bodies pressed together, in the surrender of loneliness to desire. For the first time in months, I felt alive, wanted, seen. The morning light streamed softly through the curtains, and for the first time in a long while, I woke up feeling warm. Alex was still beside me, his arm resting protectively across my waist, his breathing deep and steady. For a brief moment, I allowed myself to simply exist there in that cocoon of borrowed comfort, pretending that the world outside didn't matter. But reality has a way of creeping back in. My phone buzzed with a message. It was from my husband. "Good morning, love. I miss you. I'll call you tonight." Guilt twisted inside me. I glanced at Alex, at the way he slept so peacefully, unaware of the storm raging in my chest. What had I done? What line had I crossed? Yet, even as guilt clawed at me, another feeling pulsed stronger: desire, hunger, a desperate need I hadn't realized was buried within me. Alex hadn't just touched my body, he had awakened something in my soul that had been silent for too long. When he finally stirred awake, his lips curved into a slow smile. "Good morning," he whispered, his voice raw with sleep. I forced a smile back. "Good morning." For a moment, neither of us spoke, as if both feared acknowledging what had happened between us. But when his hand slid down to intertwine with mine, I realized this wasn't a mistake for him. It was a choice. That day, I told myself it had been a one-time escape. A moment of weakness. But nights grew longer, lonelier, and Alex was always there. A simple dinner turned into wine on the porch. Laughter turned into touches. And soon, it became impossible to resist. Each time we were together, it was fire, passionate, raw, unrestrained. He looked at me not as someone's wife, not as a woman waiting at home, but as a person who deserved to be desired. And every time I closed my eyes after he left, I wondered, was I falling for him, or simply falling deeper into the emptiness my husband had left behind? Weeks passed, and what began as a lonely escape soon turned into something deeper. Alex and I were no longer just neighbors stealing nights together, we had become each other's secret world. His presence filled the emptiness my husband's absence had carved into me. But secrets never remain buried forever. One evening, as I set the table with Alex's laughter still echoing in my mind, my husband returned earlier than expected. His suitcase hit the floor with a dull thud, and his eyes studied me with quiet suspicion. "Who's been here?" he asked, his tone sharper than the blade of a knife. My heart raced. For the first time, I felt the full weight of what I had done. I could lie, Danny, pretend, but the truth pressed against my chest too heavily to ignore. Tears filled my eyes. I was lonely. And I made a mistake. Silence stretched between us, unbearable and raw. His jaw tightened, his knuckles white around the handle of his bag, but instead of anger, what I saw in his eyes was pain. That night, we spoke, really spoke, for the first time in years. About how distant we had grown, about how his work had taken him away not just physically, but emotionally. About how I had felt invisible, forgotten, unwanted. It wasn't easy. The confession cut us both open. But it also forced us to face what we had been avoiding, that love cannot survive on habit alone. In the weeks that followed, we tried to rebuild. Slowly, carefully. The passion I had found with Alex had awakened me to what I truly needed: intimacy, attention, tenderness. And while part of me would always remember him, I chose to fight for my marriage, to give us a second chance. One evening, as my husband held me close, whispering promises of change, I realized something. What happened with Alex was not just betrayal. It was a mirror showing me the emptiness I had been living with, and reminding me that I deserved more than silence in a marriage. And for the first time in a long while, I believed that maybe, just maybe, love could be found again, even in the ruins of mistakes.